Hi, I'm Dana and welcome to another video in the 12 days of Autistic Christmas, where I'm doing a different video about being autistic and Christmas and life and blah 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 all the way up till Christmas. So today's I wanted to touch on something that I have very much touched on in other videos that you guys have reacted to, which has made me want to talk about it more, which is masking at Christmas. Because I feel like there's a very, not different perhaps, but specific type of masking that I think we all do at Christmas, or at least like a good majority of us, because you've talked about it in the comments, like we all be masking at Christmas. And I want to talk about it a little bit because I think it's very interesting. I think it's my main thought on it at the minute is that I find it kind of funny that we as autistic people are for the most part considered to not have any sort of empathy or compassion for other people. We're meant to be in our own little world, to not really give a fuck what other people think about or care or want. When the fact of the matter is, most of us, especially at this time of year, although let's face it, all year round, are putting crippling amounts of fucking effort into trying to be exactly what other people want us to be. And why would we bother if we didn't care? Why would we bother if we didn't have empathy for other people? Like, for me, masking most of the year is very much trying to get other people to perceive me as normal, getting other people to like me, trying to come across as, I don't know, it's hard to phrase because I've said normal person, but I hate that because I don't think anyone's a normal person, and who gives a shit about normal anyway. But the mask that I put on as an autistic person is very much trying to not be autistic, and to not be autistic is to be what is considered to be normal. So yeah, my year-round mask has always been for my own benefit. There's definitely been times that, I say that, but there's definitely a lot of autistic traits that I personally have and try to cover up and try to mask out of myself, because I know that they're difficult to other people. They're things that I will annoy other people, and things that other people won't like. So even though I say that my mask year round is for me, it still kind of isn't. But especially for Christmas, my mask has always been for my mother. Every Christmas that I can remember has been about my mum has put so much effort into this. She's gone out of her way to get all the food, all of the presents, all of the cards, wrap everything, make everything look really festive and nice, make the whole house look good, make this house smell good. She really went out of her way to try and make it a good time. And so, as someone who has a lot of empathy and compassion towards my mother, and who wanted to, I know what it's like to put a load of effort into something and then have people not give a fuck. And I was like, she can't go through that, she can't feel like that. So I have to make sure that she thinks this is the best thing that's ever happened. So even though I was having a good time, and even though I could have enjoyed Christmas as an autistic person without masking, I don't think my family would have been shitty about it, I felt very pressured from myself, through my own emotions. I felt pressured to put on a mask and pretend to be someone I'm not, and react in ways that aren't natural to me, in order for my mother to think that everything's gone to plan and think that she's created the perfect Christmas, which, she in some ways had, and in other ways it was just really stressful. But I'm really especially thinking about it this year because I'm not spending Christmas with my mother. It's the first time that I'm not spending Christmas with my mum at any point in my life. I've always spent Christmas with my mum. It's always been very important to her. It's not been important to me for several years now, and in all honesty, I'm quite excited to not be spending it with her. I think the other side of things that's been making me think a lot about it, besides you guys commenting, is that I'm going to be spending Christmas with my girlfriend and with some friends afterwards. And they're people that I don't have to mask around. It's, that's why I really like the little group of people that I'm making friends with and getting in with, because it's not even with my girlfriend, I made a very conscious decision of I'm not gonna mask. My last relationship, I didn't feel particularly known because I tried really hard to be the perfect person for him. And going into a new relationship and going into future relationships, I was very no, I want this fucker to love me for exactly who I am, all the weird dirty bits and the gross bits and the whatever else, So I made the very conscious decision of I'm not going to mask around this person, I'm not going to pretend anything. And sometimes the mask definitely still slipped on, especially in the early days, but for the most part that was something I was able to do with this one specific person who made very clear that I was safe and that I could be comfortable and that I didn't need to mask. Obviously it's a lot more difficult, and I'd say impossible, to choose to just unmask in situations where I don't feel safe. You know, I'm not saying you can just choose to not mask, like that's not the case, but with my girlfriend, with this one very specific person that I feel very, very safe with, I was able to just make that decision at the start of a relationship. Whereas with my new pals, with my new friends, I never had to make that decision. They're just such like a diverse little group of queer and neurodivergent people that I was like, yo, I'm one of you. Like, we get it, everything's good. And it's definitely the first time in my life that I've had that experience, besides like, I've mentioned in videos before that my older brother's autistic, so we used to occasionally go to like disability play areas or whatever. And I loved those kids. I got on real well with those kids, you know, the other kids with disabilities. Not so much like the ordinary kids in my school, but it's almost like a similar experience of coming in and being like, oh, you're all like me. I don't have to be, like, pretend to be something I'm not. I don't have to pretend to be better than I am. You know, there's no need for any sort of pretense. I can very much just be who I am. And, you know, that comes with, like, these people are very welcoming. They're very just accepting of each other, so it's very clearly like a nice, safe environment. But I just haven't had to mask, and this is where I kind of get a little bit scared to spend Christmas with them. And they watch these videos, so like getting deep with me, but like I don't want to mask around people realistically. Like, it's always gonna, I think it's always gonna happen to me when I'm like in the job centre, when I'm doing these meetings, you know, because life's scary and I need some sort of buffer for it, quite frankly. But when it comes to like fun things and Christmas, I don't want to feel like I have to mask. And yet, even though I'm really excited to be spending it with like people that are safe and people that I trust and people that I like instead of my family, I still feel really worried that the mask is automatically going to come out like once there's presents and Christmas food. Because I do kind of feel like my brain's been trained to like, you know, taste that first pig in a blanket and be like, oh shit, we've got to like make this the best thing ever. And I'm worried about it. Like, I've mentioned that the friend we're going to see on Christmas is like making us food and I'm getting the presents, and it's one of those where like I do trust that it's going to be a nice time because I like these people. I'm glad to spend any time with them, let alone Christmas. But I'm just really worried that my little autistic brain override is going to be like, time to mask, and I'm going to spend the whole time being weird, not being myself, which is what they're used to. You know, like my mask might be less weird for other people that I don't know, but I think to someone that like does know me reasonably well and has seen me very unmasked, it'd probably be really weird to suddenly see me being all like, oh, that's so kind of you, thank you so much, that's really lovely, you know? But like, it kind of does really, really feel like that's what I've been trained to do. You know, like even my last birthday, I think I did go and see my mum because I didn't stop talking to her until April, and my birthday's in March. I did. That was when my mother gave me, I think that was when my mother gave me the best friend bangles for me and my girlfriend. But yeah, I bring up my birthday because although I did see my mother and my family, the vast majority of my birthday was spent with my girlfriend, my ex, and some other people. And again, they were people, for the most part, that I felt very safe around and didn't feel a need to mask around. And yet still, on my birthday, I masked like real heavy. I think I did a good job, like I don't think I noticed. But it's just so ingrained in like, I don't think it's even like my brain, it's like my psyche. It's like, you know, it's really like in there that there's a certain way you're supposed to act on your birthday. There's a certain way that you have to react and act and be and just generally express yourself, and I don't think I'm very good at it. Like, I've spent a hell of a lot of my life feeling like I'm just too much, which makes it really hard for me to know how to act out any sort of big emotion, if that makes sense. Like, there's a certain, like, while I was making my Christmas plans, my girlfriend pointed out that I was stimming a little bit, and I was like, holy shit, I am. Because I very much have to choose to stim. Like, I know this isn't something we really talk about and we're getting a bit off topic, but I think that, like, you know, and it's not a case of, like, I'm faking my stims, which I did feel like at first. I totally felt like I was. I felt like such a fraud. But it's a case of, like, my body feels a certain way, and I've massively trained myself out of doing anything that comes across as weird or unusual. So I've lost stims. Like, I lost my natural stims. They're gone. So when I stim, it's very much like my body feels a certain way, I'm going through a certain thing, I'm gonna do this stim. Oh, look, that feels better. Or, oh, look, that doesn't feel better. Try a different stim. Oh, that feels better. Like, I don't feel like I have any sort of natural reaction to feelings like excitement, feelings like joy, happiness, like general. Even when I'm like upset, like I will leave the like situation and just cry in my room because I don't know how to like react. Like, you know, like even when I've been in places of like great emotional distress and I want to fucking throw something, I won't, because I don't really know how I'm meant to like physically present these emotions. I don't know what I'm meant to do with my hands, with my body, with my arms. Like, that's always been a big thing for me. And I've gone so off topic that I've actually forgotten what my main point was. Yeah, I started out like real depressed about the whole season, and then I got a little excited, and now I'm just sort of anxious that I'm gonna weird out and not enjoy it or something. I don't know. I think chances are it'll all be fine. And it's just that Christmas is the time of year when you have to make advanced plans. So I've had more time than usual to overthink it. And I've made all of these issues up in my head that aren't going to actually be there. Entirely possible. But yeah, I spent quite a long time feeling quite bad and feeling really confused as to why I had to pretend so much at Christmas, because I was aware I was putting on an act. I was aware that I was feeling pressure and not excitement a lot of the time. You know, there was a lot of things where I was like, I know this isn't right, but I don't know what is, so I'm just going to go with it. You know, I think it's quite easy to talk about masking in like professional settings or around people you don't know, or when you're doing X, Y, Z. I think it's a lot more difficult to talk about masking when it's people that you like and people that you shouldn't need to mask around and that you know you don't need to mask around, but the mask is so inherently ingrained that you sort of can't help it. You know, it's one of those things that I do like really genuinely believe we can get over. I do think that eventually I will be able to just unmask and mask when I need to, because that's the other thing with masking that we don't bring up a lot, is that everyone does it to a degree. You know, like when people go to work and they're like, oh, hi, how are you doing? When they're actually having a really shit day, but they're in work, that's a mask. It's just not the same severity, you know? It's the same thing, but it's not. So I don't want to completely like lose my mask for everything. I'd like to be able to look like I've got my shit together when I'm like going to the bank or whatever, you know? But I do want to and do think that I can, and that we all can, learn to unmask in a way that's safe and that, you know, is comfortable for us. And that's what I'm trying to do with the new people in my life. And I think it's going reasonably well. I think a big thing for me is that I just don't know what I feel a lot of the time. I can just tell you if I feel positively or negatively. I don't know what the actual feelings are. But that's enough from me. As always, my links are down below if you wanted to follow me. Are you okay, Otis? I think he had a nightmare. He just burst away. Are you okay? Poor little stinky man. Just as well, it's the end of the video, eh? As always, my links are down below. TikTok, Instagram, Ko-fi if you wanted to buy me a coffee for Christmas. I don't know. And whoever you are, wherever you are, I hope you're having a lovely morning, evening, day, afternoon, week, month, year. And I'll see you again tomorrow.